A boy is resented from his village since birth due to having the demon fox that destroyed the village sealed inside him. He acts out like a delinquent for attention because anything is better than being completely ignored. This boy also lacks talent, failing his academy exams 3 times in a row. He doesn't have anyone who cares for him, an orphan who lives alone. In spite of these hardships, the boy doesn't experience hate nor anger. There's only sadness and sorrow. This boy's name is Naruto. Chapter 1, Uzumaki Naruto. I want to talk about this chapter alone because, amongst my peers, they don't seem to appreciate just how good it is. The themes and literary devices used within Naruto are overlooked by a lot of casual fans, so I'm here to emphasize them. There are 5 literary components that make up a narrative: the characters, setting, plot, conflict, and resolution. Of course, there's the build-up and in-between, such as rising action and falling action, that's also a part of the plot. One story element in particular that I'd like to go over in this video is the conflict. Conflict involves the struggle between 2 opposing forces, Mizuki and Iruka. My first time reading it, I was like, oh, okay, so Naruto stole the scroll like Mizuki asked him to, and he used the scroll to learn this technique. He mastered it to impress Iruka and beat up Mizuki because he was obviously bad guy. Chapter 1. Naruto beat up bad guy with 1,000 clones and became a full-fledged shinobi. On to chapter 2. No, it's actually a bit more than that. It becomes more and more interesting the deeper you get into it too. Let me explain. Mizuki was introduced to the story as someone who showed concern for Naruto. When Iruka failed Naruto for the 3rd time, Mizuki tried to persuade him to be a bit more lenient since Naruto showed improvement. One would say he cared for Naruto in comparison to how the others treated him. Mizuki is one of the very few characters Naruto respects and would listen to. Iruka Sensei is another character that Naruto respects. Master Iruka is Naruto's teacher. He is hard on him and scolds him a lot, however, he actually empathizes with Naruto. After his parents were killed, Iruka was an orphan and did anything for attention, just like Naruto. He understands Naruto and would love to help, but those feelings are in conflict with resentment due to Naruto being responsible for his parents' death. Now, Naruto isn't responsible. The fox is, however, that's just how Iruka viewed him in the introduction. I'll get into how and why he changes later. Let me summarize the plot real quick. Mizuki tells Naruto about the scroll and sends him on a mission to steal it. After the scroll is stolen, the village freaks out. Iruka is sent out to find Naruto and apprehend him. When he found Naruto, Naruto seemed to be exhausted from his training. It's revealed that Naruto was training diligently to impress Iruka. He also states that Mizuki told him to steal the scroll. Mizuki emerges from the background and attacks Naruto and Iruka. This is where we learn the intentions of Mizuki, and Naruto finds out he has been deceived. After finding out the truth behind his place in the village and Iruka's confession, uncertain on what he should believe, Naruto runs away. Mizuki chases after him and Iruka does the same. We then see Mizuki catch up to who we think is Naruto, but this Naruto attacks Mizuki, who is disguised as Iruka. He then reveals himself to be the real Iruka. They have another conversation on the matter with Naruto listening behind a tree. Neither of them is aware of his presence. Now that we're caught up, let me get into what I really wanted to discuss. Mizuki versus Iruka, the 2 opposing forces. Naruto observes the conflict and is met with the choice. Should he side with Mizuki? Mizuki had ill will towards the village. He sought after great power to use for destruction. Similar to the demon fox, Mizuki represented hatred. Or should Naruto side with Iruka? Iruka is in conflict within himself. The boy is responsible for his parents dying. He was hard on him yet sympathized with him at the same time. After his conversation with Lord Third, and during his confrontation with Mizuki, he realizes that it's only the spirit inside Naruto he loathes, not the boy himself, who he cares for. He realizes that, and that's why he apologized to Naruto for not being a better teacher, a better self, that he could have been. He identifies with Naruto, knowing they both grew up as orphans, and after seeing Naruto train so hard to be recognized. Iruka represents sympathy. Naruto is presented with a dilemma. Which will he side with? A dilemma is a rhetorical device in which a conflicting situation arises for a person to choose between right and wrong. Perhaps that's not entirely accurate. The concept of right or wrong isn't required when presented with a dilemma. The choices just have to be equally acceptable, but unable to be made concurrently. Maybe I should just provide an example. Let's say you have to watch either Naruto or Dragon Ball. Well, this would not be a true dilemma because you could possibly just watch both, one after the other. All right, look. Let's say you're 8 years old, right? So you're 8 years old and your parents are separating. You have to choose to live with either mommy or daddy. You can live with only either or. You love them both equally, yet they treat you so differently. That is an example of a true dilemma. It induces a struggle within the mind of a character, therefore, it gives readers an insight into characters' lives. One more example, I'll take this up further. Anyone with a friend or loved one has been presented with this kind of question before. If your girlfriend, whom you've been happy with for like 5 years or whatever, love of your life, and your younger sister, who you have a close relationship with, were both drowning, and you can only save one, which would you save? This is a moral dilemma. It expresses your moral principles, and to come up with an answer to such a situation, you'd have to really review what's important to you on the fundamental level. The choice Naruto makes in his dilemma is what he thinks is morally the correct answer, and the consequences of said choice would shape his character and moral compass. I find this interesting because based on his choice, you could throw him in some crazy scenarios and get an idea of how he'll respond based on his moral compass. What would Naruto do in Eren Yeager's shoes from Attack on Titan? Now that may be a hard one to tell based off of just solely chapter 1, but you get the idea. I just find it interesting. Kind of got sidetracked, but back to Mizuki versus Iruka. It's revenge and destruction versus sympathy and acknowledgement. Naruto shows us what's more important to him by siding with Iruka to take Mizuki down. He only stated that he'd kill him if Mizuki killed Iruka. He did not harbor any hatred in his heart towards neither Mizuki nor the villagers. I also heard things like Naruto not having a reason to become Hokage prior to oh, Haku, or the Land of Waves arc. I completely disagree. He clearly states his goal and the reason behind it with Iruka Sensei. Before knowing he was resented for having the spirit of the demon fox within him, he assumed he was unwanted for being weak and having no talent. The results of his training is what made Iruka acknowledge him as a full-fledged shinobi. Also, he used that power to step in and protect Iruka from being killed. This shows Naruto would protect people who are closest to him, especially when he threatened Mizuki. Him making that threat alone foreshadows just how far he's willing to go to protect his loved ones. His goal is to become the strongest so that the entire village will look up to him, respect, and acknowledge him. He never had that growing up. Acknowledgement, appreciation, and respect would bring Naruto happiness. And with that, Naruto's goal is to become Hokage. That's my interpretation of the story being told in chapter 1. The message I got was, stay true to yourself, and others will eventually recognize you by your actions. That stood out to me because true intentions are shown everywhere in this encounter between our three characters within the conflict. Mizuki deceived everyone and used Naruto to steal the scroll for himself. Iruka's real feelings for Naruto surfaced, showing that he resented the fox spirit but respected Naruto himself. And Naruto's true goal was reinforced. When given the opportunity for greater power, he used that power to make himself stronger so he can impress Iruka with the results of his training. This is important because he could have used that scroll to get revenge on the village for making him an outcast. Instead, acknowledgement and appreciation is what he yearned for within his heart of hearts. Alright, and that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. It took me like 3 days to edit this. I'm tired. I don't even know if I want to make another video, but I will. I know this one was kind of basic, but yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess I'll do another video on something a little bit more subtle. I'm thinking about Promised Neverland, maybe Yu Yu Hakusho, or I'm not really sure. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do in the comment section. Please don't get on me too hard for making any mistakes or sounding like I was reading off a script, because I most definitely was. I'm nervous. I'm not sure what to say. This is a very long outro, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right now. Please criticize me in the comments. Help me become a better YouTuber. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Now I want to know from you. What is it you desire in life? What is your objective that justifies all the hardships you've overcome? What is it you fight for? What is your goal?
And the fourth Hokage's the one who saved the village from the nine-tailed fox. He was the most amazing.
Then why did you...
Because I'm going to be greater than any of them. Me, Naruto, the next Hokage, a ninja legend. Then everyone will have to stop disrespecting me and look up to me. Believe it!